Well, it's time for pattern predictions. A look at the next 2 weeks of weather, taking us through mid-July. Meteorologist Danielle Noyes here for the 1 Degree Outside Weather Network. You can, of course, get the 14-day forecast right in our free 5-star rated weather app. You are going to love it. If you haven't downloaded it yet, we know there are so many weather apps to choose from, but give it a try. Let us know what you think. Think you're going to love it. See why people are. Search 1 Degree Outside Weather in the App Store and Google Play. Now, this video is going to tell you about what you may see shift or change a little bit and the reasoning behind the forecast over the next 2 weeks. Of course, the big story is this massive heat ridge that's building across the eastern 2/3 of the country for this first week of July. Intense heat, intense humidity, thunderstorms riding along the boundary of that ridge as well. Notice what happens as we head into the upcoming weekend, though, for the July 4th holiday. That ridge breaks down a bit. There's some cooler air, not over us, but trying to come in. So that battle zone setting up more numerous thunderstorms, kind of popping up, classic summertime each day. After that, it is a more zonal flow, meaning west to east temporarily before warmth builds back in to a lot of the western 2/3 of the country. Cool air trying to carve off this dip across the northeast. So once again, I don't think will be quite as intense in terms of heat this week, but there will be warmth in place and cooler air trying to battle back, which will promote a number of thunderstorms cropping up as we head into the second week of July. Intense heat. It's been a while since we've had to add the hundreds on this range of the y-axis here. 90s to over 100 with an extended heat wave here for many cities and towns through at least the July 4th holiday. Then we're generally running in the 80s, although there are some signs that we may get a brief spike in some heat towards the middle part of the second week of July. So 87, 85, 87. Keep in mind, some spots may go over that temporarily or briefly again before we kind of come back down to the mid 80s. So an above normal stretch for both daytime highs and overnight lows. In fact, just difficult for the body to cool down, the ACs to keep up if you have it, with overnight lows that don't get out of the 70s in some areas, and then we'll be in the 60s for most of the remainder of the stretch. But it's this real heat and humidity for the first week of July that will be most intense. Jet stream steers our storms, and again, it's way up into Canada, but as we head into the July 4th and 5th holiday, it does come close to New England. That's the trigger, that's the storm track. So any thunderstorms that come through, again, will be more widespread in terms of what we'll see towards the end of the week. For July 8th, 9th, 10th, there are some disturbances that come in, but they're, again, fairly progressive and fast moving. So it is kind of a classic stretch where we get disturbances every kind of day or two with a risk of afternoon and evening thunderstorms cropping up. But once again, as we've seen so far this summer and even over the course of spring, the jackpot zones in terms of precipitation over the next 2 weeks will be across northern New England. There's pretty good agreement that we get 2 to 3 inches with locally higher amounts across far northern New England. Lesser amounts the farther south and east you go. Of course, we could use that 2 to 4 plus inches in southern and eastern New England, where the drought conditions are the worst across New England. Another jackpot zone here across the Midwest that sees those thunderstorms riding that ridge, and some moisture down across the Tennessee River Valley in southeastern United States. So I'll be very honest with you. The percent chance of precipitation here is a little bit tricky. It's going to depend on exact timing of thunderstorms, right? But each day, the one thing I would say is our app, you'll notice the numbers tick up as you get closer to each day. These numbers also do not represent, okay, 60, it's going to rain 60% of the day. It means that there's a 60% chance that you get a shower or thunderstorm that day. So it's classic summer where you may get a downpour, you may get some lightning, you may have to duck inside briefly, and then the sun comes back out. So we're elevated again this week, heading into this upcoming July 4th holiday weekend, and then we're generally right around 30 or 40% kind of each afternoon heading into the second week of July with those multiple disturbances coming in. You are always able to watch us online anytime. Of course, you've got our forecast in our app, but so many of you still want to watch on TV, and you can open up the YouTube app on your smart TV, search 1 Degree Outside Network. We are on 24/7 with New England's first and only weather network. Thanks so much for watching. We hope you enjoyed this 1 Degree Outside video.
Get exclusive content, support the mission at membership.onedegreeoutside.com. And don't forget, free and 5 stars on the App Store and Google Play. Search the number 1 Degree Outside Weather.